In this movie, I want to get familiar with the taskbar and launching applications. Now, you can launch applications from the Start menu or the taskbar, but in this movie, we're going to focus on launching applications specifically from the taskbar. I want you to look at the very bottom of your screen in Windows. This row along the bottom of the screen is the taskbar. This is where you're going to find the Start button on the very far bottom left. Then there's this search field. And then we get into these icons here, which are applications that have been pinned to the taskbar. And this is where we'll be focusing most of our attention in this movie. But also over on the far right, there are a few other options. You have the date and time, and then you have some important system icons. This is where you'll access the Action Center, as well as your volume control and settings for your internet connection. If you're using a laptop computer, you'll have an indicator here for your battery status. And then there's this little arrow. If you click on that, it will show you some hidden icons, which are other system tools that you may need to access. Now, we'll be getting into some of these options later in the course, but again, I want to focus on these icons here near the middle. This is where we're going to find applications that have been pinned to the taskbar, and I can launch these applications from here. So in my case, I have File Explorer, the Windows Store, and Microsoft Edge, which is the web browser that comes with Windows 10. If you're used to using a previous version of Windows, you may be used to using Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer is available on Windows 10 as well, but Edge is what comes by default in the taskbar. It's a new web browser. So to launch any of these applications, all I need to do is click on the icon in the taskbar. So if I click on the Edge icon, it launches that application. So really, that's all there is to launching an application from the taskbar. Just click on the icon, and that application launches. Now, you may be noticing one limit to the taskbar. There are only 3 applications here. Now, you're going to want to launch a lot more applications than just these 3. Well, that limitation is actually a strength, because you are going to choose which applications are pinned to the taskbar. And this is something we're going to talk about how to do a little later in this chapter. But once you do customize it, the taskbar will be this great place where you can go and quickly launch the 5 or 6 applications that you use every day. So we're going to get it customized later, but for now, I wanted you to see how to launch applications from the taskbar. All you need to do is click on the icon, and that application launches. Great, so launching applications from the taskbar is really no big deal. Let's finish up by looking at some of the settings for customizing the taskbar. And I just want to clear my screen a little bit, so I want to close these windows. So I'm just going to hit the X up in the top right corner of each of these windows, just to get those off of the screen. Now, to customize the taskbar, all you need to do is point your mouse anywhere on the black space on the taskbar, right-click, which means click with the right mouse button. It'll open up this menu, and you can choose the option that says Properties. And it gives you a few things that you can use to customize the taskbar. For example, there's this option to auto-hide the taskbar. I'm going to click to enable that, and then I'll hit either Apply or OK. If I hit Apply, it just applies that setting without closing this window. So now the taskbar is automatically hiding. So it's not on the screen until I want it to be on the screen. And if I want it, all I need to do is move my mouse to the bottom edge and it'll pop up. So some people like to do this because it frees up some extra space on your screen. If you don't like to auto-hide the taskbar, you can just turn this option off, hit Apply, and it's going to stay on the screen again. Now, you may choose to leave the taskbar on the screen, but you just want it a little smaller. And for that, you would enable this option that says Use Small Taskbar Buttons. So I'll turn that on, I'll hit Apply, and now everything is a lot smaller on the taskbar. Now, if you use the search field, you may not like this configuration, because you'll see the search field shrinks down to just a search button. So of course, if you want to turn this option off, just do that right here, hit Apply, and you're all set. Now, the taskbar by default is on the bottom of the screen, but you can change that from this menu here. So you can position it on the left, right, or the top. Now, most of the time, when you see people working with Windows, they're going to keep the taskbar on the bottom of the screen. This is really your preference, but in my experience, it's a little unusual to have it anywhere but the bottom, so I'm going to switch it back and hit Apply. So you'll see there are a couple other options here in this configuration panel. You can take a look, sort of explore and see what you can find. But those are the most essential configuration options, and I wanted to make sure that you saw those before moving on. Once you've got your settings right here, you just hit OK, and that window goes away. The taskbar is pretty essential, not only for launching applications, but for lots of other things as well. We've already seen that you can access the Action Center here, as well as the Start menu. So clearly, we're not done with the taskbar. It's going to be an important tool as we continue learning Windows.